Odette is a scientist. She conducts research about bugs. One night she caught 22 moths, and put them all in a large jar. The next morning, when she awoke, the jar was floating in the sky. The moths had discovered that if they all flapped their wings at the same time, they could lift themselves up and away from Odette's laboratory. The moths believed that if they could take the jar high enough, the glass lining would crack due to the atmospheric pressure. This was not necessary, for once they reached the highest cloud, a woman with one eye took the top off of the container and freed them all. But what a surprise it was to all of the moths, and even the one-eyed woman, to see that inside of the jar, hiding beneath one of the moth's wings, was a clear and red stone. The woman took it, and believing that it potentially meant so much to the scientist Odette, she decided to drop it. This was not an attempt to return the stone, no, but to destroy it. The one-eyed woman really had grown to love these moths, even in the short time that she had known them. And she could not believe that such a smart scientist would trap them. That such a smart scientist could do such an awful thing. And as the stone fell, it started to expand, faster and faster, like a splash of water in a swamp. And from the highest cloud, it was harder to make out the ground. Less and less green and more red. The one-eyed woman began to panic. Oh no, she thought, what have I done? I did not mean to destroy everything, I did not even know that the stone was what it is. How could I have been so stupid, she thought. The moths, they began to panic too. They began to wonder if they should have just accepted their fate from the beginning. It would be much better to die in a laboratory, they thought. Much better to die in a laboratory than to destroy everything and everyone else. After a great silence, the one-eyed woman began to yell, and a creature with large teeth and sharp nails flew to her side. The moths grabbed onto its fur, for this creature could fly faster and further than they alone. The creature lifted its wings and the moths, and the one-eyed woman, began to head up and away, bracing themselves, for they were heading in the direction of the sun. The one-eyed woman had always enjoyed the way that the creature moved its body through each atmospheric layer. The way it knew how to avoid asteroids and debris the same way that a horse knows how to avoid cacti when running through the desert. The one-eyed woman had never sat upon a horse. It is highly unlikely, she thought, highly unlikely that there would be horses anywhere else in space. Still, she was optimistic about finding a new planet to exist upon. "Somewhere, there must be green trees," she said to the moths. "Somewhere there must be a desert and a waterfall and maybe even a few birds." On the fifth day of flight, the creature carrying the one-eyed woman and the moths became overwhelmed with exhaustion. It said to the one-eyed woman, "I am going to have to place you down on top of the closest planet. I am sorry that it is not what you were looking for, but I am very tired and I must return to my family." The creature spotted a planet close to the size of Earth and decided to drop the one-eyed woman into its atmosphere. Unaware of the gravity on the new planet, which was much stronger than that of the former, the creature dropped the one-eyed woman from too high a distance, placing her into a disoriented state when she awoke. The atmosphere was different from back home, so the woman and the moths took on a new, three-dimensional form. When the one-eyed woman awoke on the new planet, she was surrounded by mounds of color. The mounds, the woman had decided, were some of the most beautiful objects that she had ever seen, and yet, after close inspection, she realized that they caused her an incredible amount of pain. This was due to the fact that the mounds, like all of the planets the woman had passed along the way to this one, lacked any life whatsoever. The woman, wanting to explore the planet further, yet lacking the energy as well as the wings, asked the moths to fly the circumference, hoping that this action would unearth any entity of life. After circling the planet 3 times, the moths were certain that the planet was only covered in the colorful, lifeless mounds. The one-eyed woman, heavy-hearted after hearing such news, and trying to make up for the colossal amount of guilt that comes with destroying a whole planet, had decided that she would do whatever she could to create a replication of the life that she had depleted. She did not care to do it for herself, no, she just wanted to give the insects something to attach themselves to. The woman realized, after rounds of experimentation, that if she stacked the mounds on top of each other, they would stick together. Once discovering this mechanism, she began to mold the objects into other shapes. The woman decided that she would recreate flowers and trees. She was determined, for she felt a very needed sense of joy, imagining the moths flying in between the trees, finding some shade from the sun. The sun, which definitely seemed larger from this corner of the universe. Because the one-eyed woman had not had anything to eat in 6 days, her memory of foliage from back home was not very accurate. Due to this fact, the trees and flowers did not really look like the trees and flowers that she or the moths were used to. The moths did not mind, for once they were built, they did in fact enjoy weaving in between the branches. On the seventh day on the new planet, the woman died of starvation. The moths followed 3 or 4 days later. It is a sad story, to think that the one-eyed woman died before witnessing the evolution of life on the new planet. She had not accepted her actions by the time of her death, for she did not find any particular reason to forgive herself for destroying everything. Still, as the woman decomposed, her molecules mixed with the atmosphere of the new planet, first into some microorganisms, and after evolving for 7 million years, into creatures that both resemble the woman and the colorful planet. The people of the planet go about their days similar to the ways in which we go about our days. They are very intelligent and have expanded their species onto other planets. They've even gone to planets within the galaxy of which the one-eyed woman's original planet was located. Still, the people of the colorful planet can't comprehend the structures that the one-eyed woman created millions of years ago. They don't know where the objects have come from, and they don't know why they were built. It is, though, because of this mystery, that the one-eyed species continues to explore its origins, as well as the universe surrounding the planet. The one-eyed species will search eternally, for years and years, even up to the point at which they will all die out, and, yet, they will never know the origin of the unknown structures. They will never visit the planet that inspired their creation. The planet that was annihilated. The planet that the moths and the one-eyed woman came from. They will only ever get a glimpse of trees and flowers, any remnant of the living world as we know it, as the one-eyed woman knew it, in the form of someone else's longing for something that is permanently gone.